Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, everyone. It is 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time on this 6th day of April, 2021. Happy Tuesday. Looking at Bitcoin, pretty interesting levels. So last week, I warned about this rising wedge formation in Bitcoin, and it's still a danger zone. All right, it is still a dangerous level for Bitcoin from a bullish side of things. For people who are looking at the health of the aggregate market, we want to see Bitcoin remain up here, perhaps even gain a little more, but we don't want it to lose a ton of value, because if Bitcoin does drop, inevitably that brings down the rest of the market. So just a little review, what we've observed is this rising wedge. Bitcoin fell down below it in the last week of March, and then it came up and it tested it over a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-day period. So from 27th of March to April 2nd, we were testing the bottom of this rising wedge, attempting to get back into it. We did close above it on the 30th, but bulls failed to continue to push it higher. Instead, what we've seen is a sideways drift. That's okay, because this candle here had me a little worried that we would see a sell-off occur, especially because this is a pretty standard pivot candlestick pattern, meaning that this middle candle here has a higher high and a higher low than the two candles on its left and right. When that occurs, that's a pivot setup, meaning that it typically, or you could call it a rounded top. You typically see prices drop pretty strong there. Instead, we've seen a really nice zone here showing us some probable consolidation. That is something to pay attention to, because when we look at the total market cap, all right, when we look at the total market cap for Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, so cryptocurrency total market cap is approaching 2 trillion. I think it's just shy of 2 trillion, and the altcoin market cap is at 830 trillion. All right, so the ratio is getting a little tighter for Bitcoin. So Bitcoin now represents 55.2% of the entire market. All right, remember when it was floating around like 68 and 72% forever in a day? It's losing a lot of ground to the rest of the altcoins that are out there. So watch out for that, especially if you are in looking at Bitcoin as a primary instrument to trade. The altcoin market and Bitcoin, and this is the total market cap without Bitcoin, known as the altcoin market chart. And then we have the total market cap including Bitcoin. Kind of a rising wedge pattern going on in here. But, the altcoin market has yet to diverge dramatically from Bitcoin. We still need to see a pretty big spike up in the broader altcoin market. Now, you'll notice that the altcoin market is up 1.25%, while the total market cap is down 0.4%, roughly 0.5%. So we're getting a really nice performance here in a lot of the high cap altcoin market coins. What we should expect to see with Bitcoin is, in this environment, is we should expect to see it flatten out, possibly even lose some value, maybe retest the 50K or 54K. But there's really good zones here to see. I mean, there's an inverse head and shoulders pattern developing, and if you get rid of the wicks, it is actually it's right there. For those who like to look at that pattern and trade that pattern, let me just get rid of all that there. Get rid of the wicks. And you can see that there is some signs of an inverse head and shoulder pattern forming on Bitcoin's chart. And one of the ideal setups that you would like to see with the inverse head and shoulder pattern is you want the right shoulder to be above the left, which it is, because ultimately people look at the cup and handle pattern. I never use it, But essentially, a cup and handle pattern is essentially the right shoulder of the head and shoulder pattern. Spike up, little drop, dip, and then here's where the little handle is on the coffee cup or the teacup, and then it spikes up. That's what we look for. You know, if it does spike up, I'd expect it to break new all-time highs and to touch at least that 66K value area on Bitcoin. But if the altcoin market is going to continue to drive up and push and gain and generate more and more value, watch for Bitcoin to trade flat, relatively stagnant. I mean, it could dive or it could dive south a little bit, or it could just drive up higher along with the altcoin market. But just look for it to flatten out a little bit. And maybe it'll break some new all-time highs, but I don't see a huge major run on it. I see the altcoin market taking up a lot of that pressure and pushing that further forward. From Altitude Exchange Rates UK TV, thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe.